Shalom family. So big news over the last 2 days is that the US called for UN Security Council vote on backing the Gaza ceasefire plan. The vote was planned for Monday, which did take place. The US, a staunch ally of Israel, was widely criticized for blocking several UN draft resolutions calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. So they were quite surprised that the US is now bringing one. Council members should not let this opportunity pass by and must speak with one voice in support of this deal. Nate Evans from the US delegation. Then the UN Security Council backed Biden's Gaza ceasefire plan. Russia abstained. The United Nations Security Council agreed on something finally related to Gaza. On Monday, it adopted the US proposed resolution which gives formal backing to an Israel-Hamas ceasefire plan. 14 council members voted in favor, Russia abstained, and there were no votes against, allowing it to pass. The draft resolution welcomes the new ceasefire deal currently before both sides, which Israel accepted, calls upon Hamas to also accept it, and urges both parties to fully implement its terms without delay and without condition. The US-backed plan, which Biden is controversially referring to as the Israeli proposed, although Netanyahu's government has criticized it as incomplete, openly, and not hiding or whispering. They've said clearly they have not agreed to this plan. There are things in there that are not put in place, like the complete eradication of Hamas and removal of them from the Strip and from leadership. That is not in there. This plan will essentially ensure that Hamas survives and stays in power in the Strip. How are you ever going to have a peaceful situation like that? You're not. But again, Biden is referring to it as Israeli proposed. And it's his big push just before the elections, I think, to try and get this thing rolling so that he can seem pro all these things that the world is screaming about and hopefully gather up all of those supporters to get him back into the White House. I mean, horror upon horrors. Can you imagine a few more years with Biden into the tribulation? Not that there might be a few more years for America as a nation. And that's also sad to actually say, considering. But we see what's going on in the world. We see the enemies gathered. We see everyone taking their positions. And a lot of these things are directly connected, if not most, to how Israel has been treated by these nations. So much so that God himself says in the word of God that he's going to gather all the nations and deal with them regarding this issue. God bless. Pray for Israel. Keep watching. Things are getting tense and tight. The war in the north is about to break out as well, so it's going to get really, really very interesting very quickly. God bless and shalom.